All right, we're gonna get right into it today. So we're gonna start seated. Thanks. And again, if you want to start somewhere else, feel free to start in any other position that you want. But today's theme is going to be all about some grounding fall energy. Just make sure you can see my lovely mat if you can. So today is the autumn equinox, and what better time than now just to allow ourselves a little bit of extra space to root our energy back down after maybe having a lot of fun and uplifting energy from the summer sun. And so find a seat, whether that's sitting on your shins or sitting on your sit bones. If you're sitting on your sit bones, maybe remove some fleshy part from underneath your bum and sit up nice and tall. And feel free, if you want to extra ground your energy down, you can plant your palms down on your thighs, or maybe bring your hands somewhere on your body and just close your eyes and begin to deepen the breath. And so the beautiful thing about fall is the leaves are this incredible reminder of how gorgeous change can be, right? They change from green to orange and yellows and reds, and then they all turn brown and they all fall to the floor. But the thing that the leaves and the trees don't show us is all the hard work that is going in behind the scenes to create that change. And change is a hard thing, right? It's usually not something easy that we go through. It's the experience on the end, right? The color and the change of the leaves. That's the beautiful part. And the hardest part when we're in the midst of change is maybe finding a little gratitude for the space that we're in. So today's practice, while we're grounding down and maybe we're working through whatever it is that we are each individually working through today, is to maybe find gratitude through the struggle. And just be grateful for wherever it is that you're landing today. And with each movement and each breath, just take the extra time and space to really notice your feet feeling firmly planted to the earth, almost imagining like your feet are growing those roots all the way to the floor, so that while you're going through this season of change in this process, you can feel strong, you can feel maybe capable, worthy, and find that gratitude within the struggle. And so just take a few more rounds of breath here in this seated position. Feeling your sit bones or your shins firmly on the mat below, feeling whatever part of your body you're touching, feeling your heart. And just give yourself a moment of gratitude, right? You're the one that puts in the hard work through the change, just like the trees do, to show their beautiful autumn leaves. And then ever so gently, just blink open those eyes. Wherever your palms are, just reach them up overhead. Take a big inhale in. And then draw them to heart center on that exhale out. Take a little tuck of the chin, just a moment to bow down in your practice. And then making your way forward onto hands and knees for cat-cow. So stacking shoulders over the wrists, hips over the knees. Everything's about inner hips width apart, 2 knuckles width. And then begin your movement on your breath. So on your inhale, drop the belly, open up the chest. On that exhale, push the earth away as you round into the spine for the cat. Feel like every limb firmly planted to the floor, even the tops of the feet. Big inhale. And some deep exhales. Last one like this. Inhale. And exhale. Nice. Come back to neutral spine. Tabletop. Feel the low ribs floating together. And then maybe just move your knees a little bit closer together for extra stability. Reach your right toes back like you're stepping back to plank. And then using the muscle of your glutes, lift that right heel on an exhale towards the ceiling. And then on the inhale, tap it over to the right side of your room. So exhale, lift, come back to center. Inhale, tap it back to neutral. Exhale, lift. Inhale, tap right. Exhale, lift. Inhale, tap center. One more. Exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, tap the toes. Bring your knee so it's right back under the hip. Take one more cat-cow. Drop the belly. And then round into the spine on that exhale. Come back to neutral tabletop. We'll take that right to the other side. So left toes extend back on your mat like you're stepping back to plank. On your exhale, use the glutes, lift that left heel closer to the ceiling. And then inhale, tap the toes over to the left. Exhale, lift to center. Exhale, tap neutral, or inhale, tap neutral. Exhale on the work. Inhale, tap left. Exhale, center. Inhale, neutral. Last time, exhale. Inhale. Exhale. Inhale, tap the left toes. Bring that left knee back under the hip. This time, toes will come together. Sink your hips back for your first child's pose. Palms reach far down the tops of the mat. Let that forehead come to the earth. Feeling length all up your spine. Getting reacquainted with your breath after a little bit of work. And then from here, whenever you are ready, make your way into downward facing dog, curling the toes and sending the hips all the way up and back. Really feeling the palms rest firmly into the floor. Even your finger pads are pressing into the earth. Heels trying to ground towards the back of the mat. Any movement though that you're craving, so maybe that's a pedal of the feet, maybe a rise and fall into the heels. 2 more breaths. Last round of breath. From here, just widen your feet almost to the width of your mat, and then walk your palms towards the toes, coming into your ragdoll pose at the back of your mat. Maybe opposite hand finds opposite elbow crease. Maybe you want to stay grounded to the mat and just let your knuckles kind of hang down, and just a little gentle rock side to side. Release tension from the low back. Maybe a shake of the head yes, and a shake of the head no. Making sure all of your weight is towards the balls of the feet so those hamstrings are still fiery and engaged. Tailbones lifting up towards the ceiling. If you have that bind, just gently release your palms to the earth and toe ball heel your feet a little bit closer together. On your inhale, come to your first flat back, Ardha Uttanasana. Exhale, hinge over the hips, forward fold. Taking one more like that. Inhale, flat back. Exhale, fold. Little bend to the knees, slowly rolling up, stacking vertebra by vertebra until you come all the way to stand to mountain. Taking a moment as the shoulders shrug up towards the ears and letting them melt down at the back on that exhale. Firmly plant the feet to the floor, feeling your limbs growing towards the earth as the crown of the head lifts towards the sun. On your next inhale, arch sweep up overhead, extend the mountain. Hinge at the hips, forward fold on that exhale out. Long flat back, big inhale. Plant your palms, walk your palms forward to plank pose, stacking the shoulders over the hips, or the shoulders over the wrist, and then rocking your weight forward on an inhale. Gently tap your knees to the earth. Unhook the toes, lift the chest open so you have a nice flat back. Elbow creases will spin forward. On that exhale, just lower halfway and pause, almost like you're coming to chaturanga. One big inhale in. And exhale out. And then slowly let everything melt all the way to the mat. Pressing into the tops of the feet, palms scrub back, chin, neck, and chest rise for cobra. Maybe you lift the palms. 2 more breaths. 1 more big inhale. Heart will melt to the floor on the exhale. Push up through tabletop, inhale. Stack the hips over the knees and then walk your palms forward to a puppy dog pose. So just a little extra length in that heart than we do for child's pose, really pressing the tops of the feet, the shins into the mat. And then just walking your palms 1 or 2 handstands back back to curl the toes and maybe in downward facing dog. Big inhales in. Some nice deep exhales out. On your inhale, rise up to tippy toes. Take a big bend to the knees. Look forward. Walk your feet up to the hands this time. Flat back on an inhale. And forward fold on that exhale. Root to rise as you reverse swan dive. Arms will swim up to the sky. Exhale, forward fold. Little hinge at the hips. Flat back, inhale. On the exhale, plant your palms, step your left leg back to low runner's lunge. Feel free to widen your stance if this feels a little too narrow on the hips, and then scoot the left toes back to drop the left knee to the floor, unhook your toes. Feeling your right hip scrubbing back, left hip scrubbing forward. Really pressing into the top of that left foot, so it's almost as if that left knee's just grazing your mat. And then walk your palms up to that front right thigh. So you could almost play a little lift and lower of that left knee. That's how much weight is scrubbing towards your pelvis. Reach your arms up overhead. Look at your thumbs. Little extra length on an inhale. Open up that chest. Take a little baby back bend. This is just coming from the heart, right? So all of your weight is rooted into the feet. 2 more breaths. 1 more inhale. And 1 more exhale. Come back to neutral spine, unhook your thumbs. Take a T-twist, left arm forward, right arm back. So again, this is just coming from the navel. All of your energy is grounded in the feet and the hips. 2 more breaths. Last round of breath. On that inhale, everything neutralizes. Arms sweep up overhead. On your exhale, plant your palms to the floor. Walk your palms back towards your hips as you straighten into that right leg. You can always grab your blocks as well and walk your blocks back with you. Still feeling the energy in the scrub of the hips towards one another and just a little hinge forward, letting that heart melt closer to that right shin. Last round of breath. On your inhale, come back to low runner's lunge. Plant the palms, curl the left toes, lift that left knee, pluck the right knee to the chest, step yourself back to plank. On the inhale, rock the weight forward, tap the knees or leave them lifted. Pause halfway again like you're coming to chaturanga. 1 inhale in, and 1 exhale out. And then let everything melt all the way to the floor. Unhooking the toes, pressing into the tops of the feet, palms scrub back. Inhale for cobra. Maybe you lift the palms this time. Maybe you reach them back behind you, clasping back for the hands. And then maybe you lift the legs, coming into locust. 2 more breaths. Last full round of breath. Release everything down to the floor. Palms will come underneath your shoulders. Curl your toes. Inhale to tabletop or plank. Downward facing dog on the exhale. 1 big inhale. Maybe take an open mouth sigh. Exhale. Rising up to tiptoes on that inhale. Bend your knees. Look forward. Step block. Hop float to the top of the mat. Last sun A. Flat back inhale. Forward fold on the exhale. Root to rise, reverse swan dive. Arms sweep as you extend the mountain. Hinging at the hips on that exhale out. Flat back inhale. Plant your palms, right leg steps back, low runner's lunge. Feel free to widen your stance. And then scoot the right toes back to drop that right knee to the floor. Unhook the toes. Feeling first the scrub and the energy in the lower body. Left hip back, right hip forward. Almost like you can lift and lower that right knee up off the floor. And then bring your palms up to that left thigh. When you feel really stable, reach both arms up overhead. Look at your thumbs. Try to bring your opposite thumb forward this time. Lift and lengthen towards the ceiling on an inhale. Baby back and little lift of the heart up and back on that exhale. 2 more breaths. 1 more breath. Neutralize your torso on the inhale, unhook the thumbs, T-twist on the exhale, right arm forward. Last full round of breath. Come back to neutral, both arms sweep up overhead, inhale. Exhale, plant your palms, maybe grab your blocks to frame the front foot, and then walk your blocks, walk your palms back towards the hips as you straighten into that left leg. Same scrub of the energy of the hips towards one another, and then a little hinge, micro bend in that knee. Last round of breath. Coming back to low runner's lunge, ditch the blocks, palms will plant around that front left foot, curl the right toes, lift that right knee, pluck the left knee to the chest, and then step yourself back to plank. If you're ready for that chaturanga, rock your weight forward, lower halfway and pause. Big inhale, roll over the toes, open up that chest for up dog. Exhale, downward facing dog, low belly will send the hips all the way up and back. Big inhale. And an open mouth sigh, exhale. Rise up to tiptoes, inhale, bend the knees, look forward. Step walk, hop float to the top of your mat. From here, bring the big toes together, bend your knees. Take your hips, meet me in chair pose, Utkatasana. Allowing yourself a moment to feel the energy grounding down. In your peripheral vision, can you see the tips of the toes over the knees? If not, maybe shift your weight back towards the heels. One more round of breath, just like this. From here, bring your hands to heart center. All of your weight will come towards the right foot. Come to stand, hug that left knee into the chest on an inhale. Exhale, sink the hips low, meet me in chair. Inhale, come to stand, left knee to chest. Exhale, chair. 2 more, inhale. And exhale. Last one, inhale. And exhale. On this inhale, meet me standing one last time, left knee to the chest. Hinge the torso forward, kick that left leg back behind you, warrior 3. Really feeling the energy rooting towards the earth with that right foot. And then take a big bend to this right knee. Flip the left toes back, keep the long spine. Reach your arms towards the top of the mat. So you're in this nice long extended lunge. Big inhale. Nice deep exhale. On your inhale, come all the way to rise, crescent lunge. Allowing yourself a moment to settle in. Still feeling the scrub of the hips, the feet working towards one another. Maybe you're shaking, maybe sweat's beginning to build. Last big inhale. Warrior 2 on the exhale. Feeling everything rooting towards the floor. So even though your palms are moving apart from one another, almost feel like they're pressing down on a shelf. Everything's really grounding your energy towards the floor. Maybe close the eyes. If you close your eyes, link them open, flip that right palm. Reach forward on an inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, cartwheel your hands to low lunge. Step yourself back to plank, optional vinyasa, lowering halfway or all the way. Big inhales for up dog or cobra. Exhale, downward facing dog. Big inhale in. Open mouth sigh, exhale out. Rise up to tiptoes, bend the knees, look forward, step walk, hop float to the top of the mat. Flat back on an inhale. Forward fold on the exhale. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Letting yourself settle in a little bit deeper. 2 more breaths. Last full round of breath. Bringing your hands to heart center, weight to the left foot. Hug that right knee into the chest as you come to stand. Inhale. Exhale, sink the hips low, chair pose. Inhale, stand. Exhale, chair. Last one, inhale. And exhale. Keep me back standing. Hugging that right knee into the chest, weight to the left foot. Hinge the torso forward, kick that right leg back, warrior 3. Big bend to this left knee. Float your right toes back to crescent lunge. Arms sweep forward towards the top of the mat, extending that lunge. On your inhale, ground down into the feet, bring the torso to rise. Allowing yourself a moment to settle in. Take one more inhale. Open up to the warrior 2 on the exhale. Feeling really grounded, really strong. Maybe close those eyes again. Feeling grateful for the moment that you're in, even though maybe you're working both physically and mentally to get through this challenging class. If you close the eyes, gently blink them open. Left palm will flip on an inhale. Reach forward, paint the ceiling, reverse the warrior. Exhale, curl your hands to the floor. Low runner's lunge, step back to plank. Take a vinyasa if you choose. And meet me back. And downward facing dog. Take a big inhale. And an open mouth sigh, exhale. One more inhale. And exhale. Rise up to tiptoes, inhale. Bend the knees, lift forward, step, walk, hop, float to the top of your mat. Flat back on an inhale. Forward fold on that exhale. Toes together, bend your knees, sink your hips. Chair pose, Utkatasana. Lots of chairs today. Float your arms behind your back this time. Taking a bind, if you need a towel, feel free to grab a towel. And then feeling the shoulder blades roll down and back, maybe sink the hips a little lower. Bring your knuckles to the outer edge of that right hip. And drop your left ear to the left shoulder. And then drop your right ear over to the right shoulder. One more time, come to center. Left ear, left shoulder. Come to center. Right ear, right shoulder. 2 more breaths. As you unhook your knuckles from the hip, just roll the chin to the chest and come back to neutral. Big bend to the knees, hinge and forward fold with that bind. Ever so gently release your palms to the floor. If you have your blocks, grab them and place them about 6 to 7 inches in front of the toes. They might need to come off of your mat. And just so your palms can plant right underneath the shoulders. Setting up for a supported warrior 3. Weight comes to that right leg again. Kick your left leg back behind you. Maybe feeling a little extra grounding here with both palms on the block. Still feeling your sternum threading forward. Left leg's nice and long, almost like you're trying to step on that wall behind you. 2 more breaths. Last round of breath. Transitioning from this warrior 3 into half moon. So the left palm will leave that left block. As your hips, your torso opens up to the left side. Maybe that left palm just stays on the left hip. Maybe you reach your arm towards the ceiling. If you feel warm and open in that left quad and you want to take a bind, you can bend into the left knee. Try to catch the top of that left foot with your left palm. And then kick the foot into the palm to maybe try to thread your right rib a little closer to the ceiling. If you have that bind, slowly release it. Take a big bend to the right knee. Press off the block, float yourself to warrior two. Nice, straighten into that right leg. Turn both heels in, toes turn out, hands come through prayer. Sink your hips nice and low for a goddess squat. Maybe close the eyes again. Allowing yourself a moment to be still through the challenge and the change. On your inhale, squeeze your thighs, arms reach up overhead. Take your warrior two to the back of the mat on the exhale, over to the left. Flip that left palm, big inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, side angle on the left. So left arm reaches forward, hips move back. Ever so gently let the left forearm graze the inside of that left thigh, right arm reaches nice and high. Last round of breath. Coming back to warrior two. Straighten that left leg. Turn your left toes parallel, arms reach up overhead. Right toes face the top of your mat, meet me back. In the warrior two. Flip that left palm, reach forward, big inhale, reverse your warrior. Exhale, cartwheel your hands to low runner's lunge. Maybe you grab your blocks as you come to stand on that right leg for a standing split. So your torso is hinged a little bit more far forward. And then big bend to both knees. Your left toes will come right next to the right to build another chair. So bend your knees, sink your hips, chair pose, Utkatasana. Arms come out to the T, weight will come to that left leg this time. Peel the right toes up off the floor across that right thigh, over the left. Your right arm's going to come underneath the left for a hug, a single or a double bind. Now we're not going to stay, so you don't need to hook the toes. You're going to leave your arms where they are lifted, and then come to stand. Right knee hugs in towards the chest. Take a curtsy lunge. Tap the toes back. Right knee comes behind the left. Coming back to stand on an inhale. Exhale, eagle across the right thigh over the left. Inhale, stand. Exhale, curtsy. Take this your breath for your movement 2 more times. Bring me back in that eagle. Take a moment to unbind. Drop the right foot to the floor. Sweep your arms up overhead. Big inhale. Just let your hands come to heart center on the exhale. Moment to pause. Big inhale in. And exhale out. Inhale, arms sweep up overhead. Extend the mountain. Hinge at the hips, forward fold on that exhale. Flat back, inhale. Plant your palms. Flush that with a vinyasa if you choose. Meeting me back in downward facing dog. One more big inhale. And a nice long exhale. Nice rise up to tiptoes. Inhale, bend the knees, look forward. Travel to the top of your mat one last time. Toes together, bend your knees, sink your hips, chair pose, Utkatasana, big inhale. Taking that bind again, try to grab for opposite knuckles. And then bring the knuckles over to that left hip. Drop your left ear to the left shoulder. Come to center. Right ear, right shoulder. Just a little tick-tock of the head 2 more times. Coming back to center, landing on that left side, left ear to left shoulder, just a moment to pause. Maybe sink the hips a little lower. Tuck the chin to the chest, release the knuckles, reach them back behind you, keep the bend into the knees as you slowly take that forward fold. On your exhale, gently release the bind. Bringing your palms to your blocks. You should still be in relatively the same spot, but if you need to move them, move them. Weight to the left foot, kick that right leg back behind you for your supported warrior three. Feeling everything firmly planting to the floor. Last round of breath. And then coming into half moon, your right palm will leave that right block to come to the hip. Pressing more into that left palm to open up your torso, your hips over to the right side of the room. Maybe your right arm extends towards the ceiling. Maybe you want to take that bind again for that right quad. Maybe finding somewhere on the floor today to help you ground your energy down and help with balance. And if you fall out of it, just like I did, that's okay. From here, take a big bend into that left knee. Press off that left block to float back to the warrior two. Straighten into the left leg. Turn the right heel in. Toes turn out. Sink your hips nice and low. One last goddess squat. Isometric hold, moment of stillness through challenge. 2 more breaths. Last full round of breath. On the inhale, squeeze the inner thighs, arms reach up overhead to stand. Meet me at the back of your mat, warrior two. On the right. Flip that right palm, reach forward, big inhale, reverse the warrior. Exhale, side angle, passing through warrior two, torso reaches forward, hips move back. Right forearm raises the right thigh, left arm reaches high. Finding gratitude here as we come back to the breath. Gratitude for challenge, gratitude for change. Gratitude for all of the ickiness that comes with this new season. So at the end, maybe we can see all the beautiful colors of the leaves and just appreciate them a little bit deeper. On that next inhale, come back to stand warrior two. Straighten into the right leg. Right toes turn parallel. Left toes face the top of your mat. Meet me back in warrior two. Left palm flips, big inhale, reverse. Exhale, cartwheel your hands to the floor. Maybe your palms come onto your blocks again as you press off the right toes, meeting me in a standing split. Fast asleep, fly your dream. Big bend to both knees. The right toes will come right next to the left, meeting me in chair pose, Utkatasana. Arms sweep up overhead, inhale. Coming into that eagle on the right side. So the left toes will peel to cross that left thigh over the right. Left arm comes under the right. Single, double, up. Knowing that we're not going to stay here. So on that inhale, come to stand, hug the left knee into the chest. On the exhale, take that curtsy lunge. Step back. Inhale, stand, left knee to chest. Exhale, eagle. Take this your breath for movement 2 more times. Last full round. Meeting me back in that eagle. Just take a moment to pause, sink the hips low. And then unraveling everything. Left foot stands down, arms sweep up overhead, big inhale. Hands come to heart center on the exhale. Maybe close the eyes, one inhale. And one more exhale. Big inhale, sweep and extend the mountain. Forward fold on the exhale. Flat back, inhale. This time, plant your palms. Step your left leg back to low runner's lunge. Taking a lizard, walk that right foot wide. Palms will come to the inside of the right foot. Maybe your palms come onto your blocks just to add a little bit more length. And then this is yours to take. So if you like an active lizard, stay with the left knee lifted. If you want something a bit more passive, more restorative, drop the left knee to the floor. Still, if you have that left knee to the floor, keeping the scrub of the hips, right? So still feeling that left hip scrubbing forward, right hip scrubbing back. So still having a little bit of work here as we stretch and release. 2 more breaths. If you don't have your palms underneath your shoulders, come back onto the palms. Curl your left toes, lift your left knee, and then just hop that left foot in any amount so you can plant the heel to the floor. The toes can turn out and straighten into that right leg. It's a little deeper than that hamstring stretch we took earlier. Nice wide leg pyramid. Maybe bring one palm to the back. Make sure your hips are nice and even. So your right hip's rolling up and back, left hip's rolling down and forward. I want to listen to your silence. 2 more breaths. Last round of breath. And then if you like your blocks for your lizard, take them with you and walk yourself towards the left side of your mat. And so your palms are in front of the left toes, bend into that left knee, take a skandasana. You can sink all the way into the hips if you prefer that variation. I like a little bit more lifted skandasana. Take 1 more inhale and 1 more exhale. Straighten into that left knee, walk your blocks back towards the right knee, right toes, and bend into that right leg. Skandasana on the right. Last round of breath. Walk your blocks back towards the left side of your mat. Walk, walk, walk. So you face the back of the mat, knee and lizard on the left. So your left foot will come nice and wide. Blocks to the inside of the left toes. And then you can scoop the right toes back to drop that right knee to the floor. And any variation of the lizard today that feels good for you. How can I when I'm never there for myself? I wanna be there for 2 more rounds of breath. How can I when I'm never there for myself? Curling into the right toes, lift the right knee. And then hop that right foot in any amount so you can place the heel on the floor as you straighten into that left leg. Toes will turn out for a nice wide leg pyramid. And then I just had to adjust my hips, right? So that left hip's rolling up and back, right hip's rolling down and forward. Maybe you bring your palm to the low back sacrum. Last round of breath. Take a little bend to that left knee. Begin to walk your blocks back over now towards the right side of your mat. This time kneading knee and cross it, reach a wide leg forward fold. Maybe you use your blocks as a little pillow, a little shelf for the head. As you hinge forward at the hips, bring your weight more towards the balls of the feet, almost like your heels are lifting up off the mat. And again, if there's any movement that you're really craving some more skandasanas, you can take whatever you want here. This is yours. Tell me why we built this for. On my way to something more. You're that one I can't ignore. Last round of breath. Grabbing onto your blocks, making your way back towards the top of your mat. Low runner's lunge, just ditch the blocks out of the way. Step yourself to downward facing dog. Optional vinyasa if you want it, otherwise meet me in child's pose. One last little lift of the chest just to allow our heart space to open up to gratitude in times of change. So just making your way onto hands and knees, tabletop, grabbing your blocks, and then come to stand on your shins. We'll take a couple of variations of camel today. So first to begin, we're just going to set up our blocks for our leader version. Bring your blocks right outside the left block to the left ankle, right block to the outer edge of that right ankle. First, we'll just start with our palms behind our back. So bring your palms just to your low back sacrum. Shoulder blades roll down and back, pressing into that low back. Little lift of the chest as your head kind of just reclines back. You don't have to let it go all the way. Blend the tops of the sides, ignite. Think of more about lengthening in the upper thoracic spine, then dumping into the low back. 2 more breaths. Slowly come back to neutral spine. You can take a moment, sit on the heels, maybe take another child's pose, couple rounds of breaths. Oh, sometimes we never build this house. Last back bend, come back onto the shins, sitting up nice and tall. Bring your palms behind your low back again, shoulder blades rolling down and back. Take an inhale. And then on that exhale, this time begin to hinge. You can stay right here. This is beautiful if this is where you want your back bend to be. Otherwise, maybe you let your palms come down to the blocks on the outer edges of the ankles. Or if you have a lot of extra space in that heart, maybe you drop your palms to the heels. That's my block pose. And then you can let the head go all the way in back. Oh, sometimes we never built this house for real. Slowly bring your palms back to the blocks, back to the low back. Come nice and slowly up to stand. Hips to heels. Take a child's pose. Move your blocks out of the way. And when you're ready, making your way onto your spine. Moving your blocks out of the way. We'll just take supine twists on our back. Just one last little rinse of the spine since we didn't do a ton of twisting today. So hug both knees into the chest. Maybe you rock side to side on that sacrum, that low back. And then whenever you're ready, knees will fall over to the left, letting them be guided by that left palm. Right arm will extend. Maybe you want to keep a heart opener. You can take a cactus of that right arm. Let your gaze fall over to whatever side feels good for you. Very dry. Doesn't care where it's been, where it's bound. On your next inhale, little strength of the core to bring the knees to center. And then taking them with the right palm, guide them over to the right side of the room. Let your gaze fall over to one shoulder, left arm will extend. Maybe you take a cactus of that left arm, one last little opening of the chest. Coming back through center, inhale. Roll yourself into a tiny little ball. Give yourself the biggest squeeze. Thank yourself for taking this time. Thank yourself for your body, for your strength and all of your abilities. And then on your exhale, Shavasana, whatever shape that is that your body wants to come to for rest. Maybe you want to bring your energy back farther to the ground, planting your palms on your body. Change is hard, right? If it were easy, everyone would do it. But it's also something that's incredibly unavoidable, as we are never required to be exactly the same person in the exact same moment at the exact same time. Evolution is a natural progression of change and growth, right? So we are always and forever in a constant state of change. Sometimes unrecognizable and unnoticeable. And other times it hits you smack in the face like a cold winter's day. And it is in those hardest times of change and struggle, and those turbulence, for us to take a moment to pause, to breathe, and to find gratitude. Finding gratitude for our bodies and bringing life into our day, for our mental capacities, for our physical strength, for our determination and our will. Gratitude for the change, so that when we make it out on the other side, we can see, just like the autumn leaves, how beautiful it was. Beginning to wiggle into your fingers, maybe into the toes, to allow a moment to reawaken. Any movement you want, maybe a stretch of the arms back behind you, full body stretch. And then allowing yourself to just roll over to one side of your mat in the fetal position to pause. Honoring the rebirth from all of the shedding and the dying of the things today that wasn't serving us, right? Letting our sweat and our effort today be just like the leaves falling from the trees in autumn, so that we can re-emerge almost like spring, ready to blossom. When you're ready to be guided out into your evening, just ever so gently pop yourself up nice and slow, making your way to another comfortable seated position. Maybe removing any fleshy parts from underneath the sit bones if you're on your tailbone, and then sitting up really, really tall. So the crown of the head anchoring towards the sky, bring your hands to heart center. Feeling everything else grounding down as you're growing upward. Take one inhale in. And a nice long open mouth sigh, exhale out. Letting your hands float to third eye center, that space just in between the brow. All of the glow within me bows and honors and appreciates all of the immense amount of glow within you. Namaste.